Learning with my grandfather. I must have been very young at that time. While I don't remember exactly how old I was, I do remember that when people saw me with my grandfather, they would pat me on the head and give my cheek a pinch, things that they didn't do to my grandfather. The strange thing was that I never used to go out with my father. Rather, it was my grandfather who would take me with him wherever he went, except for the mornings, when I would go to the mosque and learn the Quran. The mosque, the river, and the fields, these were the landmarks in our life. While most of the children of my age grumbled at having to go to the mosque to learn the Quran, I used to love it. The reason was, no doubt, that I was quick to learning by heart, and the sheikh always asked me to stand up and recite the chapter of the Merciful whenever we had visitors, who would pat me on my head and cheek just as people did when they saw me with my grandfather. Yes, I used to love the mosque, and I loved the river too. Directly we finished our Quran reading in the morning, I would throw down my wooden slate and dart off, quick as a genie, to my mother, hurriedly swallow down my breakfast, and run off for a plunge in the river. When tired of swimming about, I would sit on the bank and gaze at the strip of water that wound away eastwards and hid behind a thick wood of acacia trees. I loved to give rein to my imagination and picture to myself a tribe of giants living behind that wood, a people tall and thin, with white beards and sharp noses, like my grandfather. Before my grandfather ever replied to my many questions, he would rub the tip of his nose with his forefinger. As for his beard, it was soft and luxuriant, and as white as cotton wool. Never in my life have I seen anything of purer whiteness or greater beauty. My grandfather must also have been extremely tall, for I never saw anyone in the whole area address him without having to look up at him. Nor did I see him enter a house without having to bend so low that I was put in mind of the way the river would wound round behind the wood of acacia trees. I loved him, and would imagine myself, when I grew to be a man, tall and slender like him, walking along with great strides. I believe I was his favorite grandchild. No wonder, for my cousins were a stupid bunch, and I, so they say, was an intelligent child. I used to know when my grandfather wanted me to laugh, when to be silent. I would remember the times for his prayers, and would bring him his prayer rug, and fill the ear for his ablutions without his having to ask me. When he had nothing else to do, he enjoyed listening to me reciting to him from the Quran in a light, lilting voice, and I could tell from his face that he was moved.